welcome back to another episode of ABA Mom. I am your host, Allie, and today I have a very special guest who's been with us before. This is now her third time, Tracy Smith, who is now a board-certified behavior analyst. A year ago when she was on, she was still a student analyst. So super proud of her for taking that exam, getting it done. And we actually have some very exciting news. We have opened up a nonprofit organization called Next Chapter Support Services. And this organization, I'm so excited, and I think it's such a need in our community to support individuals with developmental differences, their families, introducing respite care, and just building some real world skills such as social skills, communication, independence, meaningful community participation. And we're just going to use some behaviorally informed approaches that we have learned in the field to be able to support these individuals and their families. Tracy, do you want to share anything else about Next Chapter?
Oh my goodness, that was such a good intro. Thanks for
excited.
having me on the show and the great intro. Yeah, in where we live, there's a growing number of adults that they're transitioning out of the high school program and they're going to be doing adulthood things. And so schools prepare them, what they can, families prepare them for this next step. And so now they're in this next chapter. And so now we need another thing to come alongside the families and the adults and to just continue these skill building. And so that's our goal. That's our goal. And, at times there's times where they need respite care, like that our families need a break from supporting the individual needs time to work on these individual life skills away from family time, because now that family time has increased because we're in this next chapter. We're in this continuation of adulthood stuff. So that's kind of why we started Next Chapter, because we have experience of teaching these skills, and there's just a kind of a major need in our community for just teaching the next chapter in life of the adulthood.
Yeah, and I totally agree that there's been, and this is our whole conversation, and I know we had that conversation with Sharon and Julie on how to start a nonprofit, and that there's such a need for adults in our community. And you're right, like it is that next chapter, it's the next step in their lives, and not everyone is ready. It's like, okay, I graduated school, the school program, and now I'm ready for a job. And sometimes there's and that may still be true, but there's still a need for life skills and a need for that development. And I'm very excited that we're going to be able to offer that opportunity to individuals and families. I think a lot of times what happens with respite care is that they go and it's just kind of like, all right, I'm watching you, and it becomes more of a babysitting, which is fine because everybody needs breaks. The young adults, older adults need breaks too. The parents or caregivers need breaks, and that's totally fine.
Right.
But I'm excited that we're going to offer the life skills on top of that, because that's an important piece that we're missing. Because it's like, okay, well, where you're taking a break, maybe we can learn some skills.
Yes. And it's for us in ABA, right? It's a way to, okay, great, you do have them at home, so let's generalize it. Let's see how awesome you are doing it with, caregiver, parent not around. So, let's do that. Let's add, a new step to it. Maybe we're going to do that through our respites or companion services. So, yeah, it's a really neat, unique opportunity.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. And so we're just starting out, so slow and steady, but our first workshop, which is a life skills, it's really social skills, but that's a life skill too. It's on social communication, is going to be held on May 2nd, and there's limited availability. So if you haven't already, I would go ahead and definitely look at the opportunity and sign up and be some of our first attendees to this workshop that I think is going to be amazing, by the way. So Tracy, and I think too, you and I have talked about social communication. I think a lot of people are like, okay, so whatever, they can talk. Like, what is social communication? Like, what does that look like? What does that mean?
So it could mean a lot of different things. And depending on, it could be verbal skills. It could be social cues. It could be, using nonverbal communication that trying to just understand that everybody knows it, sign language. It could be a device. But And it's for a variety of things. It could be you requesting something, it could be getting a need or want expressed, asking a question or understanding oh, great, you want chocolate. How much chocolate? Do you want like a little bit or a lot? Do we want dark chocolate? So we have all these questions when we just ask, chocolate, please, or, whatever so there's just so much to build into that social communication where maybe if we're not having, then there's eye contact, there's the nonverbal communication too. And that sometimes is a struggle to understand, like, okay, now what did that mean? What did it mean? Did we mean, is a no? Is you're thinking? It
Yeah,
has lots of
understanding their
different
body language.
meanings, so it has context. So, social communication to me is a variety of things, and we got to meet the person where they're at, and then we're going to build on that communication so it's perfect for them. It's individualized. What more can we do to improve that communication with others?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And I really like how you brought up eye contact because I know that's such a controversial topic sometimes, like
Yeah.
eye contact and like, do they need to make eye contact? But just any kind of cue that you're listening, because if you're looking away and you're looking at your phone, which by the way, I want to bring up phones today. But
That's social communication
that is social communication. So,
in a
but if
lot of
you're
different
looking
means.
down
Yeah.
at your phone and you're looking away or you're doing something else, often that is giving the social cue that you're not interested and you don't want to talk. So there has to be, it doesn't have to be direct eye contact, but there has to be some kind of agreement, like, you're at least putting your phone down, like you're attentive. So I think those social cues are very important to know that you're interested in what somebody else is saying. And if you're not interested, you're definitely giving off the cues that you're
Yeah.
not interested.
What? Turning towards them or you turn in the other direction. Those are
Yeah.
some social cues that are like, does that mean I should continue talking or should I not? Like,
Right. Right. Yeah. And I think one of the things that we're going to talk about and address in this workshop is how to, which I think a lot of people struggle with, is how to start and end a conversation, because
oh,
starting up a conversation, being the person to initiate a conversation can be difficult. What are you going to talk about? What are some ideas? Like, how do you start a conversation? How does this conversation with a friend look different than a conversation with a family member or a stranger? They all look very different. And then ending a conversation can be awkward sometimes. Like, how do you end a end a conversation?
yeah.
So,
Even with a friend, it could be awkward.
yeah, it definitely could be. And then how do you tell them, "I don't wanna talk to you right now," without sounding rude? So I think yeah. Yeah, exactly. So there's different ways to address those things. And then one thing that I'm really excited about is that for those that wanna participate, bringing their own lunch and being able to have, like, conversations at lunchtime,
Excuse me.
I think it's gonna be great, like, sharing conversation with a friend at lunch. So, I'm just really excited that we're gonna give the opportunity to have lunch, with a friend. They can pack their own lunches and be able to sit with a friend and converse, because what do we do a lot of times? Like, we say, like, "Hey, like, you wanna meet me for lunch, or you wanna meet me for a cup of coffee?" So, being able to have those social conversations and practice in real time and getting to know some other individuals, I think is gonna be a really great opportunity and something I'm really looking to.
I love lunch because I also get really excited
Yeah.
when people have in their lunches.
Yeah.
And then that's a good conversation piece too. Like, oh my gosh, you brought a turkey sandwich. Like, how did you make that? How do you like it? How do you like your peanut butter and jelly? Do you like it with the crust or cut in half so there's like lots of things that we could talk about. And
Yeah.
I get curious. I love food conversations. So
Yeah, me too. I love food. Like, I can talk about food, especially somebody has something really good. It's like, "Ooh, now I
yeah,
know what to get next time for lunch."
exactly. It gives me some ideas. So I love it.
Yeah, and I think too, a social communication, is how, we build on relationships. It's how we make friends. It's how we, keep relationships with family members and friends, because the one thing is we can't just one time say like, "Oh, hey, how are you? I like your shoes." And then you're friends. There's a big difference between acquaintances and friends. I notice young children are like, "Oh my gosh, that's my best friend," right? But like as adults, it's sometimes it takes a little longer to have a best friend. friends. You have a lot of acquaintances, it's harder to have friends, so being able to know the kind of the differences and the boundaries between, friendships and acquaintances and strangers, because those are all very important too, because we talk to them all very differently. And also just some of those boundaries, like, is this somebody I can hug? Is this somebody I can high five? Like, is this
Yes,
that's a very important too. Also, even if that's my very best friend, what kind of context are they giving? Does it look like they want a hug? I
that's
think it's
right.
very
Was I
too.
prepared for you to
Was
come in for
prepared
that
for that.
hug? Like,
Eh,
is that
what
arm
about my
coming
body
around?
language said that?
Okay, yeah, hug time. Okay, good. Thank you. Are we just coming in? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, and especially if it's like a surprise, like, I'm not a huge fan of surprise hugs, like, I'm like, "Let me know before you're coming in." Yeah, so just kind of I an important thing is just recognizing also, like, appropriate topics and, like, kind of like those I guess you can call them like, rules or, like, the social cues of communication. Because there's some things that there's a lot of things we communicate that are just not even said, like, that's implied or to be interpreted, so and that can be very confusing. That can be very confusing for individuals with autism or related disabilities too on those social cues.
And we're adults in this next chapter, so, like,
Yes.
I'm used to school, we're all group lunching. It looks a little different than as an adult, we're getting together, and I usually just eat now with my parents or maybe my aunt and uncle, extended families come over. Now I'm eating lunch with
Right.
same age
Right.
peers again, or, so yeah, what do we talk about? What do we do? What do we
Yeah, and that could be a struggle too, is I know parents that even have older children or adult children, and they still really struggle with, like, taking them to dinner or taking them, out places because of the fear about some of those behaviors that might occur or because they don't get a lot of those social cues, because they will go up and hug strangers and things like that. So, I think it's a very important skill, especially as individuals, adults get older, they're bigger, they're stronger. So it is a little scarier, especially for strangers or you're out in a public or community setting. So I think that those skills are very, very important to have. I mean, and especially since, you're right, like they finished school, like this is something maybe they did, they finished the high school program, and
Right,
now they're out in the real world. So what do we do?
right,
And
right.
having as adults look a lot different. It's a very different and can sometimes be harder to have friends statistically as adults than it is when you're all kind of forced to be friends and you're all grouped together. It changes. So it's nice to be able to have a group like to have and be able to continue to build those friendships with. So speaking, Tracy, of social communication, I need to rant for a minute because of my phone. I gotta tell you,
Uh,
I see
Phones, yeah,
yesterday so this
phone
is what it was like.
communication.
It was doing crazy stuff earlier. It was blinking and I don't know. Oh, there it goes. No, it kinda turned on. So if you could see it. But then it's gonna turn back off. So yesterday, I did was I posted a video and I went and I was like, okay, like I posted a TikTok video on my main account because I like posting videos. I posted one about Disney from the baby's perspectives and it was just like giving the commentary on his day at Disney,
Funny.
which he usually says is ridiculous. And
The baby's
so
communication about Disney. I
he's
love it.
got yeah, some social communication about Disney. He's got some strong feelings about it,
Mhm.
so that we drag him there. So I went ahead and I made my video. I think I texted Dan and I put my phone on a charger, and that was it. And I came back and I was like, Dan's like, "Your phone's not working." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Maybe it just needs charger. It didn't get charged." So we tried to charge it. I tried a wireless charger. Nothing, absolutely nothing was working, and we couldn't get to work. So then and I'm
No.
like, "Okay." So they're
No.
like, "There must be something internally wrong with it." And then my alarms were still going off this morning, so I couldn't figure out
Well,
how to
some
turn
things
like,
were
it wouldn't
working.
turn off
Okay.
even when I pressed the side button, it wasn't turning off, so I had to call my phone. So if you don't know that trick, if somebody's alarm is going off, if you call them, like, it will, um
Turn it off. I didn't know that.
yeah, it will turn it off if you call somebody when their alarm goes off. So I
Okay.
called
I
it
didn't know that.
from my other phone. I was like, for my work phone, and I was like, "Okay." So I called it, and then I had all these other issues today. So first of all, I couldn't text people like I normally do because then I had to look up numbers or, like, maybe if I didn't have it to my phone, I gotta
Finding numbers? Oh, no, I mean, we don't know
yeah,
anybody's phone number
and this was
anymore, so
for parents, for I
yeah.
had to go online and for, like, some of my RBT, like, I for work stuff,
Mhm.
And then, like, personal stuff, like, the only thing I have the text on my computer because I have a MacBook, but I don't not everybody has an iPhone, so those who don't have iPhone, I can't even text them. And so
Oh, yeah,
it's
a
been a
message
day
through. Yeah, yeah.
because I didn't realize, like, obviously, like, I realize I use my phone for work, I use it for fun, but how much we rely on our phones because I literally even to log into stuff, like, I was like, "Okay, I need to log into, my bank or whatever," and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna text you your password." I'm like, "Well, that's not gonna work.
Can't do that.
Can't text
Can't
me."
do that.
Or yeah, so I
Won't
was
show
like,
up.
"How much."
The alarm's going off. I can't do
I
it.
was like, "I can't even see it, it's just black, it's just black, it's nothing."
Right.
It's like a black screen, it's like that show, but how much we really us as, like that's just a side note, but that's a huge part of social communication too, is, like, texting and, like, text etiquette, like, how we talk to people on the phone because, like and then what do we do without it?
Right, right.
Because I'm like, "Okay, I could be alright, I could be okay without it," but then I realize all the other things that go along with it for work, to talk to my family members, to check my bank, like, all of these things were like, like, how much we totally rely
Oh,
on
we
our
totally rely on them, like,
yeah,
24/7. It is our
24/7.
social outlet.
Yep,
It's our game center. It's
yeah,
it's our
yeah,
calming center,
yes.
stress
So
relief. Yeah.
yeah,
Time
yeah, it is.
management. Yeah, paying bills, resource. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is, and then, for the security part of, like, "Okay, we'll just send you a text," and it's like, "Well, that's great, but it's not gonna work." So, there's a lot of, how much phones, like, totally impact our lives is pretty amazing because, um, like, 30 years ago, or
Less than that.
even
But yeah,
less than that. Well,
20.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
even 20 years ago, we were
Mhm.
probably still like, but not as much as we do now. Like, we're
Yeah.
totally relying on phone. Even 10 years ago, it was less than it is now. Like, we
No,
totally
true.
so it was kind of scary not having that. I will have a new phone hopefully by Thursday, but in the meantime, I have a computer still, but I wouldn't know what to like, without my computer or my phone, like, I wouldn't even know how to work, but that's a huge part of our communication.
Our
That's a lot
social
of things.
communication. Well, another part of the social communication is it's like a tracking, right? We know where
Mhm.
people are. So
Yeah,
kind of having that phone, we kind of teach young to have access to a phone, maybe teach having the phone
right.
because we can track it and we know where you're at, or so communication, where are you headed? Where are you going today? Can you pick up
Yeah.
something? So just yeah, you pay bills, you
You
make
do a
phone
lot
calls
on
for
it.
appointments, you
Or even if you do, like, the food, like, the delivery
Mhm.
stuff, like DoorDash and stuff, like, you use your phone for that, so without
Yeah,
your phone, how do you
right.
like, it's like the old ages, like, you gotta, like, and even that is just, like, non-existent, like, what do you do, like, without a cell phone?
Oh,
That's kind of
yeah. I don't even
scary.
sometimes you call someplace and you have it automated. You
Mhm.
don't you don't get to talk to somebody. So,
Yeah,
the social
yeah,
communication is different, that even if you call something on the phone instead of ordering from the website online or the app, you call somebody, you get an automated, it has a different type of social communication, and you have to speak very clearly for them to understand.
yeah. I went to, Wendy's in Orlando for my daughter's, cheer competition, and there's another Wendy's I went to that was like this too, is that I couldn't when I ordered, it was AI, like, there wasn't a
Oh,
person at
I
the
didn't know that about
yeah,
fast food places like that.
yep, yep, and Wendy's is the only one where I've seen it, and one I would think was in close to Orlando area, it might have been, like, DeLand area, and then this one was in Orlando,
Mm.
and I had to order, and, like, the first time I ever ordered that, I asked for chicken sandwich, and then and my kids don't like anything on their hamburgers, so I was like, "Hamburger ketchup only." They put ketchup on my chicken sandwich, and I was like, "This is gross." Like, I don't I never wanted ketchup on this, but it was so
Yeah, that's not a normal thing,
no, I was
but
like, "Why would this even" because
and
they're like, "Oh, yeah,
interpreted it
chicken
very
sandwich."
differently. Mhm.
So but it was so
Was there anybody at the window then? Or
at
is
the
it
window,
just
there was a person. Yeah, at the
okay.
window, but I guess they don't take the orders, the AI does it
Oh,
in
okay. Okay.
window. But it was so weird because 'cause I'm just like, I don't even like, I spoke really slow, like, this time because I'm like, "Well, not last time I got ketchup on my chicken sandwich," and I also just avoided getting a chicken sandwich, I got a burger, like, altogether. But I was like, "This is so bizarre because this is, like, where we're kind of going, like, in this direction, and I don't know how to talk to this robot thing."
Oh my gosh, my son gets so upset. He's like, "I didn't understand me."
Yeah, I know, it's like the kids yelling at Alexa at the house, like,
Yeah,
"Alexa,
yeah,
wasn't
yeah, but
talking
I
to
also
you."
think they're set to understand your voice, like, they're
Mhm.
to recognize your voice when you set it up, so then when
Yeah,
somebody else is talking, it doesn't always
yeah.
work, but
Yeah, and that's another reason I think too, I wanna put another emphasis on communication, on social communication, because as a whole, as, like, a society, like, we are becoming a lot less social with each other and more social
well,
on
unless you're
our
texting them,
phones. Yeah,
but good
maybe
verbal
texting, yeah,
communication,
that's
so I understand what you're trying to
yeah,
say.
yeah,
If you accidentally capitalize something, you're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna send it anyways, no big deal."
yeah,
And then they're like, "Oh my gosh, what'd I do? They're mad, oh no." And I didn't mean to. I
right.
just hit it and I made it go and
Yeah. Actually, I use ChatGPT for, like, things like, "Make this email like, here's what I wanna say, but make it more professional."
yeah.
Or, like, "Just make this" like, I'll use it for a lot of things like that,
Yeah.
because, I like that, but I feel like, I did do kind of a social experiment with a friend of mine where they were writing me, and I'm just like, I don't know how to answer any of these questions, so I just used ChatGPT to answer them for me, and they were really good responses.
Oh, right. I'm like sounded so I think that's where I get kind of stuck sometimes. Like, what is the best way to phrase this? So, like,
Right.
communication is
How to
clear.
say it.
I think that's more of like how it's clear explains more of what I'm trying to ask. And I like GBT for that. So, a lot of times it figures out, Gemini, it's not even just Chat GBT, Gemini, Copilot. Those are some of the ones I've experimented with that, yeah, they can rephrase it or polish it that, you
Right.
know good, yes, that's the word I was looking for to
Yeah.
add to make my communication make more sense and in depth of what I want to say.
I agree with that too, because I think there's definitely some, benefits to that, to being able to do that and just be like, "Oh, like, what do I wanna say, but I want it to sound better." So I definitely think there's some positives to that, to AI.
Right, right.
There's also the negative aspect, like, you can't take my order at a Wendy's correctly, you're like or not thinking for yourself and having them do it for you, I
Yeah.
think which we've gotta still, think for ourselves and communicate because if I'm having ChatGPT write my responses, am I the one really talking to my friend? Not really. So I think that social communication. I know we kind of got off topic, but I did want to rant about my phone and the AI stuff. But
No, phone is that's like a whole nother social
yeah,
communication piece,
and there's a
so
lot of boundaries that are true to, like, being on a phone too. Like, there's a lot of unsafe thing that, because kind of you get a phone and it's like, okay, like, here's access to the world, so it's kind of a scary place to be sometimes.
yep. Can you download any apps that you want? Can you say whatever you want on the chats? If some number texts you, should you text them back when it's not in your contacts? Like,
Yeah.
so there's
Yep.
some,
Yeah, like, the internet safety is a good one.
yeah,
I think we should do a whole other workshop on internet safety too. Like, I think
internet
that
safety. Oh my gosh, I can learn so much from that.
so
Just
important. And so scary out there because I think even, any adults too, like there's so much out there, um, the spam calls and everything. But I think that should be a whole other but it's definitely still a
yeah,
part of our social communication. It's
yeah.
a way a lot of us communicate and setting boundaries as far as that. Like when you chat, like what does that look like? Like what is
Well,
chatting?
and then okay, so you're chatting on your social communication using the latest words. Is that cool? It's cool, it's fine. You're doing it with a chat, with a game. But then when you bring it then into your classroom or with your family or an outing,
Yeah.
is it appropriate? Like, are those
Right.
still same words? Like, I kind of remember when like "brah" was like and so okay,
Yeah.
like, so now we're calling our teachers or adults this. Is this working? Is it not working?
Right. And there's probably different things you might say to, like, grandma versus your friend,
Yeah.
Probably should be the social boundaries or
Ah!
yeah, or to a stranger because, that's something to avoid, like, I talking to strangers because I think when individuals become adults first of all, I'm a huge fan of that Love on the Spectrum show, I love it. All the characters are all the I guess they're real people, they're not characters, but I love them. I don't know if you've watched it, it's great.
I have not.
My gosh, you need to. We should have a whole other episode after you watch it. Let me know when you get caught up because the next season's coming out April 1st.
Oh, okay. What's it called again? Remind me.
Love on the Spectrum, you have to watch
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yeah, because as adults, like, it's normal to want to date even if you're an individual that's on the spectrum or have, disabilities, but safe dating, because a lot of dating does tend to take place online and, like, the boundaries with, like, the strangers and things like that is very important. It can be a scary place, and knowing what to say and not what to say and, like, what's safe is really important. So I think it's really a huge part, of our social communication. Tracy, I really liked how going back to that, how we talked about those social cues, that's a huge part, and a lot of people miss it, like, even sometimes I miss it.
No,
So I think
yeah.
yeah, I
I
didn't
mean,
know you were feeling
I'm
that
the
way.
one who's social communication and the nonverbal cues sometimes in a movie, and I'm like, "Wait, I'm the one talking in the middle of the movie. Like, what did that mean? Like, what are they doing?" So, sometimes it's not so obvious, and maybe there's a point to it, but social communication is very, very broad. It has to do with, in person, like, when we talked about
Yep,
phone, and then internet, that's all different social communication.
yeah.
And so it's all very important. And like because we're going to be in person at our event May 2nd
Yes.
at 10
Yep,
o'clock for our first event. So we're going to really focus on social communication in person.
right.
We've we see how broad social communication
It
is,
can be.
different areas that we could definitely touch on with it. I think internet safety and texting,
Yeah,
app communication, stuff like that
that's a big one.
is another area that we can talk about social communication with. But yeah, in our event, we kind of want to look at those social cues or the nonverbal language and how verbally in person can we make that functional communication a little bit more and getting it to tell us more detail that we want. So, we know exactly what we're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, like a big part of just social communication is understanding others' perspectives and intentions because we know kind of like what we want to say or have like a gist of what it is that we want to say, but trying to understand what others are trying to express can be very difficult at times. So I think that's a very important thing. I also am excited because I think this is going to be a really great opportunity for our first workshop for others to meet each other because
Yeah.
it's all about communication, getting to know each other. So it's gonna be great for those icebreakers. We came up with like a couple of games and stuff like that in mind too. So trying to make it fun and not as serious, but also some really
No.
great
We
information too.
like learning through fun. We
Yeah,
like learning through
absolutely.
fun.
That's how I like to learn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wanna keep engaged. I wanna be
Yeah,
able to, that's kinda how you find friends and stuff. You find stuff that you have in common and you have something
yes,
to talk about. And you can talk about stuff you don't like too, but you can always come back to stuff that you have in common in that
right,
conversation. But it makes it fun when you have somebody who likes something in common with you. And
right.
so at our event, that'll be definitely finding stuff that you have in common and having some fun while we do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited. So like I said, this is gonna be our very first event for next chapter. We're rolling out real slow. Starting with a workshop, but we had big hopes and dreams, and, I think it's gonna be a really great thing for our community. I think that we're not to toot our own horn, but just, with our experience, like and even Tracy having experience, in social work as well, kind of just adds, in that behavior analytical perspective, I think it's just gonna add some more depth to a lot of the things that we're doing, so I'm very
Yeah.
excited about it.
We are starting slow, but we definitely are looking for people to help us, come alongside us. We have a website
Absolutely. Feel free
at
to volunteer.
chapter.org. Feel free to email us too from
Yep,
that.
and it's in the notes section too, so it's in the description below if you wanna click on any of those.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, yeah. We would definitely, we're your partners in the community. We're here to support you. That's why we're doing it. And we have some education, some work experience that we just want to pass along and share. And so we're really excited about our upcoming event and this organization.
Yeah. Alright, thank you, and just remember that you are not in this journey alone, and definitely Don't miss out on this opportunity. We would love to have you if you're in Flagler County, or if you are a young adult, a young individual yourself, or an older individual. We take them whatever age they are. They don't have to be young adults. If you are an adult, yourself with, a varying exceptionality, or if you're a parent of an adult, yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. So we're very excited. So we are really looking forward to seeing you there.
We're very excited to meet you. So please come up and share your name,
Yeah.
and we'd like to
And
learn all
volunteer as
about
well.
you, some very exciting things. So you know what? That's our challenge. Our challenge is for you to come introduce yourself and then tell us one favorite thing about you. And that's what we really are doing this for. We really are looking forward to you coming out, and just we're getting to know you, and we can't wait. And then, we'll share something pretty exciting about ourselves then too. So thanks for having me, Al.